Hey everyone, Chaps here, and let's have a bit of discussion around the Gears Reloaded beta. Was this really the right move? I'll preempt this discussion with a note about the gameplay you're seeing. I haven't played Gears in quite a while, and I haven't played Center Shot Gears in even longer, so yeah, I suck. Enjoy the mediocre gameplay. Alright, so I'll acknowledge that I sort of get why TC is making Reloaded. I assume E-Day will launch on PlayStation, either alongside Xbox or shortly thereafter, and Reloaded is a nice way to get PlayStation players introduced to the game. Not only is it the first game, but this is also a very cheap way to do it. UE was already in a decent spot, for what it was that is, and it's likely that it was a pretty minimal effort to transform it into Reloaded. I won't pretend to be a game developer and know all of what was required, but in the realm of game development I'd say this was a relatively small effort, and that really is important to understand. This is a remaster of a 20-year-old game, and it was done with minimal development time needed. Many people were expecting some improvements to balance and mechanics, or some were expecting Gears 2 or 3. But no, that's not what the point of Reloaded is. Reloaded is a graphical update of Gears 1 with cross-play to PlayStation and Steam enabled. And that brings us back to my original question. Is Reloaded really the right move? I'd say no, especially not with this multiplayer beta. I mean, if we can really call it a beta. The game comes out in like a month. Imagine you're a lifelong PlayStation fan who's excited to finally play this flagship Xbox title. Your first experience with Gears is loading up, you go to TDM, and then you play on Gold Rush, and you're just surrounded by these lifelong Xbox players. Isn't that going to be fun? No, you're just going to get whooped. Gears has a steep learning curve, and this really isn't the right environment for that. King of the Hill is next weekend, which I'll be missing, but I think that would have been a better starting point. Or better yet, just skip the beta altogether. Let PlayStation fans get into the game the same way 99% of Gears fans did. Campaign first. The game is out in like a month or two. Just wait for the game to launch. Let people experience the campaign and then get used to the controls. And then if they want to give it a shot, they can try out multiplayer. And then if they struggle there, they can load up some private matches and test stuff out. And the population will probably be a lot bigger. So yeah, having someone's first Gears experience being a multiplayer beta featuring a spawn campy map with a spawn campy mode and utilizing 20-year-old mechanics and 20-year-old tuning, it just isn't the way to go. So most of that there was about how poor the experience will be because of this multiplayer beta, but let's talk about mechanics. I get it, it's a Gears 1 remaster, it has Gears 1 mechanics, and that's what I expected. But does it really seem like a good first impression? And no, I'm being serious there. I know that sort of sounded rhetorical, but it's an honest question. To me, it's an obvious, no, that's not a good first impression. It feels horrible. Why would we want to put our worst foot forward and use this to showcase our beloved series to potential new fans? But then I think, well, does it really just feel bad because I'm used to modern Gears? Like, what if I never played a Gears game before? Like, when I was back in 2006? Will the PlayStation players who haven't experienced a modern Gears game really be bothered by these mechanics? Or will this just be a fresh new experience for them? But then I drift again, back into the mindset of, well, yeah, Gears felt fine back then, but also gaming in general wasn't as smooth and accessible as it is now. Like, Gears felt pretty fresh, and there wasn't much like it back when we first experienced it, so we didn't really have anything to compare it to. Now there's Fortnite, Remnant, Outriders, Alien, and various other third-person shooters that are closer to meeting these modern standards. So it's impossible to tell, but I feel like in this day and age, Reloaded is going to feel like a regression in standards to anyone who plays it. Sure, they improve the graphics slightly and most people aren't going to notice, so it's not some standout graphical marvel, and it's not a novel game. It's a nice-looking shooter that plays like it was made 20 years ago. And I'm not complaining that the game feels bad because I want a great Gears game to play. My biggest fear is that this game just doesn't age well and it isn't great for new players. My fears around the people whose first Gears experience will be this, dare I say, mess of a game, and then they'll write off the franchise. If and when a future Gears game comes to PlayStation or Steam, they'll write it off with, I tried Gears before when Reloaded came out, and I'm not sure what those Xbox fanboys are all excited about. That game sucked. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'm willing to debate or discuss this with anyone, so let me know if you want to chat. Especially if you're a lifelong PlayStation person who's never played Gears before, and this beta is your first Gears experience, I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are in the game. And while this commentary has been pretty critical of the Coalition's decision around the game, I am really grateful that they're bringing the series multi-platform and multi-console, assuming that will stick for more than just this game. Oh, and as a side note, I don't plan on disabling crossplay, so you're welcome. Alright, so what do you guys think? Is Reloaded going to be a net positive for the franchise, or did the Coalition shoot themselves in the foot with this one? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next time.